Battlegrounds where legends reign. Aussie gridiron pride unchained. Hear the thunder, feel the flame. Touchdowns and tackles, ain't no shame in the Aussie gridiron game. From Brisbane light to Perth so bold.
G'day Aussie Gridiron fans and welcome to the AGN Playoff Series Championship Edition. We are back this week with some championship football from the NFL, AFC and NFC championships on the line. 4 teams, 2 winners. We've only got 3 games of football left for the entire season. It's really coming down to the skinny end. All the boys, 7 of us in the room tonight. So it is going to be a lot of voices, a lot of insanity, a lot of opinions. Everyone's got an opinion. So we've already set the under-over for this episode at 87.5 minutes. So we're going to see whereabouts we get to. We'll go around the room real quick. Everyone can say a quick g'day. Nick, how you going?
Good. I'm going to take the over as well with that one. Put that in the multi just before we finish.
No worries. Matty C.
Hey, best bets right there, Nick. Let's go.
Manjot.
Hey, hello everyone. Been a great series with you all. Can't wait for this more. And look, Ian, right on cue. Like I said during the episode, something will happen for the first time today.
Brad.
The Bill Clinton Day of the Word is inhale. Why in hell did I have to go to work today?
The day of the word.
A day of the world. Well done. Brad is not an English teacher, that's for sure. A new voice for this week. Isaac, he's back.
I am back and I am ready to talk some football. Let's go.
Excellent.
That also rhymed, just quickly. Isaac, he's back.
He is. He can rhyme a lot with Isaac. Speaking of rhymes, Taylor.
Boys, I'm harder than a solid oak tree because it's week fucking 3. Let's go.
Well done, Tay. Well done. Well done. Once again.
That was good.
Claps all around for Tay. Well done. Yeah, excellent. It's good to be back, boys. It is good to be back, and it's good to be back to talk some championship football. This series, the AGN series, where we all come together, has been a highlight year on year, and you boys are definitely making this a highlight this year. It's been amazing to talk football with everyone. So we have 2 huge games to preview tonight, and a bit of a roundup of our bloody best bet AGN multi from last week.
Bloody shit bet.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit of that. And, of course, the lines from this week where we will have a 7-leg multi this week with 7 of us in the room. So we are just going to up the stakes just one more little bit just to see how bad we are at putting together one massive multi. So is everyone ready to talk some football?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Isaac really is.
I'm that keen.
Isaac is super keen. He's been messaging me for a week. Going, I'm in. I really am.
How much has Isaac missed being behind a microphone? He's just been like, he's here tonight and he's just got all the juices flowing. We've been in pre-show for about 45 minutes just talking garbage and he's been on.
Yeah, I love that. I love that this is like we're probably on about week 8 of Isaac doing a show with us on G'day Gridiron, and he's just like missing being behind a mic just to talk football. So it's just amazing. Got him hooked.
In fairness, I've been up at a dance competition for a week, so that's where my holiday was. So to get into for some football, I'll be happy.
How did you go, mate? Did you do all right in the dancing?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Better than ray gun?
Get out.
No ray guns, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I got
sprinkler.
sued.
Bit of running
I'm sorry,
man.
everyone.
Yeah, you'll get us sued, Manjot. Don't start that.
Sorry, y'all.
Isaac's going to kick this analysis in the ball sack. Let's go.
All right. On that bombshell, we're going to kick off with the NFC Championship. Commanders at Eagles, two huge teams from the NFC East, an all NFC East NFC Championship. And who better to start us off today and start off this analysis for this game than Isaac?
Kick it in the sack.
Get in the sack.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, what a game to preview. Like getting to watch Jaden Daniels. I know me and Jot's a fan of him and Saquon. Just the last couple of weeks has been amazing. But this game, ultimately, I think we've said it weeks before, but it's going to come down to coaching. The Commanders need to find a way to stop the run. Like they need to stop Saquon. The Rams last week didn't do it, and then they tried to stop Saquon, and then Jalen Hurts runs in for a touchdown. So I'm keen to see how Dan Quinn schemes up stuff to stop the run. And here is what I think Dan Quinn should try and do. If you watch the last 2 minutes in the Rams game, the no huddle offense that led the Rams down the field, I know it didn't get them a touchdown, which Matty has told me, but it showed to keep that big D line on the field and then just keep them moving. Don't let them stop. Keep disciplined, and then don't give them a chance to stop the clock and get a breather. I also think that AJ Brown probably needs to read a book on how to get involved in the game. I didn't even know he was out there on the other day, and I reckon Scary Terry will be the best wide receiver in the game on Monday.
Ooh.
Are you saying he might like 17 yards? That'll be more than AJ.
The connection between him and Jaden Daniels has been really good all season, so I think he's going to have a big one.
Here's a rhyme, dope. AJ Brown will always let Taylor down.
Left me with a frown.
Oh man, made you. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop.
Oh, what a clown!
Yeah, that's what I was going with that one.
On that note, if you look back at this series, the Commanders they won one of these two battles. So for those of you that don't know, these are two interdivision rivals meeting in the. We won't talk about the other teams in the division. Meeting in this matchup, and the Commanders won one of the two. Granted, that was the one Jalen Hurts got knocked out in, so it should be a close one. Isaac, I love your analysis with the 2 minute idea, because I think the key and what's caused Jaden Daniels so much problems was Jalen Carter coming up through the middle for that Eagles offensive line. That guy is a beast, and you just watching him play. I'm afraid because what's his second year? If he keeps getting better and better, it's just, I mean, all the teams that passed on him have got to be kicking themselves right about now, because he's playing. He's on the same trajectory. I won't say it, but he's on the same trajectory as like an Aaron Donald type player. He's that good and that dominating. So it's if they can get him tired, they can do it. Daniels is a legit stud in the sense that he just does not get phased by pressure. We've seen it so much, and in these last 7 games, their win streak, he has the second highest QB rating in these last 7 games, especially against the blitz. Against the blitz, he is unstoppable. So it'll be really interesting to see what the Eagles do. I don't think they're going to have to blitz a lot just because that D line is so good. But I think ultimately it's going to come down to Jalen Carter. If the Commanders can get a turnover, then I think they could truly be in this game. I still think it's Philadelphia's to win, but I do think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, just on that, Daniels is leading the playoffs in passing yards as a rookie.
Okay, that's I mean, that just shows you just his moxie. That's legit.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, can I start on Jaden? Can I start on Jaden Daniels? Because I just love that kid. I remember way back in week 3.
There goes our 87-minute over-under.
Yeah, here we go. I'll spend 87 minutes on Jaden Daniels now. Shout out Jaden. But Jaden, boy oh boy, where do I begin as the copy pasta goes? But look, in week 3, I saw 3 games of him. I remember the boys were like sending an overreaction on the Good A Gridiron overreactions pod. I said Jaden Daniels, best rookie quarterback of all time. I still stand by that. Even through all the trials and tribulations, no matter how much you guys want to laugh at me, he's still my top rookie QB of all time. Everything he's done this season has just been absolutely incredible. If you look at the 6 guys as rookies at quarterback who have dragged their teams to a championship game, Jaden Daniels has had the worst ranked defense. All the other guys had a top 3 ranked defense. Washington's defense is 18th ranked this season. It just shows you how good he has been. But
who are the 6 other guys, Manjot?
Who are these 6 other guys? I mean, I know Purdy, Roethlisberger. Yeah, we don't have time for that. So we got to keep going with the show. Of course, Mark Sanchez. Yep, Mark Sanchez. Flacco. Yep.
Flacco did it as a rookie?
Yep.
He did.
Yeah, 2008. 08 against the Steelers. I rewatched that recently, actually. But speaking of good defense, just like in that Ravens Steelers championship game, you're going up against the Eagles defense, as you boys have been pointing out. Now, the Eagles, when they did play in Philadelphia against the Commanders, they did shut down Jaden Daniels. I think that was around the time he got that rib injury. So I'm not 100% sure if he was 100% in that game. Of course, the Commanders did beat the Eagles when Hurts was out of the game. And it took them a long time. It took them until the final 10 seconds of the game to really overcome Philadelphia. So that really shows you the challenge that Washington has coming up against the Eagles. The Eagles are just so well built on both sides of the ball. I mean, I could go on all day about Saquon Barkley. I could go on all day about just that offensive line, how great of a push they have. No matter how great Washington's defensive line is, they're going up against a great offensive line in the Eagles, and they just have stars at all 5 positions there. And really, that's the tough challenge, is just the physicality of the Eagles. Can the Commanders stand up to that? And yeah, with the 2-minute drill idea, it is an interesting one, but I feel like as well, it can absolutely go and bite them as well, the Commanders, because you can make your defense tired. If your offense is going through quick drive after quick drive, your defense isn't getting as much of a break.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a difference there as well. I mean, when Chip Kelly was head coach of the Eagles back then, they were talking about that as a talking point as to why his offenses and the Eagles didn't work back then. So I'm not sure how much that's changed now in the modern NFL, but like that sort of thing, it's just another consideration there. It's just the Eagles, the Commanders may have to take risks like that, but those risks are going to be very hard to take against such a good team.
Yeah, I'm not saying run it the whole game. It's just like if you get a 30 or 40-yard shot downfield, keep them on. Like, just keep going. Keep running at them.
Situational. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I can definitely see.
I said a bit on the recap show this week with Manjot when we were going through the games out of this. And I think there's a lot of simplicity here for Washington. And I'd love to see them dare to just try and stop Saquon, to basically focus on that more and try and stop Saquon and then just dare Hurts and the Eagles to pass it, to use the passing game. They have had no 300-yard passing games all season and only 2 games over 250 passing yards in the whole season. So and it's because Saquon has been so phenomenally dominant. So what happens if you manage to take Saquon out of the game? No one's been able to see that yet. So I'd love for Dan Quinn, of all people, and I think he could really figure out how to scheme that up properly of everyone they've come up against this year. And obviously they've come up against him twice before, so he knows intimately how Saquon reacts and how it works. So I'd love for him to focus more of the defense, the Commanders, on trying to take Saquon out of their game and force the Eagles to pass it. If the Commanders,
you've seen that.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think you've seen that on the first drive of the Rams game. They tried to stop Saquon, and then Hurts just run it in. Like, it's pick your poison, really, isn't it?
It is, but it's sort of just trying to force them to use Hurts, because I think that they've really been holding back with him. And it seemed to be that injury thing where, come out and they tell us he's all good, but he's still not acting like Jalen Hurts. And there's something weird about that. No. But you can see in the Commanders games too, last 5 games, they've scored 157 points to 127 for their opponents. They've really thrown the ball around a lot, gone big scores. And whilst it's almost like the Eagles are the exact opposite. They've been winning games in the 20s with, or less, whereas the Commanders are throwing the ball. And I think if they can manage to stop the Eagles, manage to stop Saquon, lock that down, it gives Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin and a lot of these other guys a lot more like rope to be able to just sling the rock and really just get the ball downfield and move and be comfortable playing their game. And I think if that starts to happen, I think that they'll just run all over the Eagles.
I think the Commanders they got to do something different, because I think Dan Quinn's not afraid to do something different, because if you just looked at the rosters, the Eagles man to man are just are better. What do the Commanders have? They got Terry, they've got Jaden Daniels, they've got a couple of decent running backs, but it's the Commanders have to do something different, and I think they will. It goes back to this kind of, on paper, the Eagles should just blow them out. But on paper, the Commanders should have lost last week, and they didn't.
Yeah, that's
so it's just one of those things where a team gets hot, and which the Commanders are, and the sum of their parts is great. So they really are playing team football, and it's pretty, whether you like them or not, it's pretty fun to watch.
Got a pretty cool X factor about them. And I know, I think they're the easiest team who's left to cheer for, because they come in with the least anti-narrative. They come in with we've got a new owner and we're doing fun things. We've got this coach who's just brought the best out of people. And I think, that's a bunch of fun. And I think of everyone here, tell me they're not kind of your second favorite team, and just, even if it doesn't make any sense for them to keep winning, doesn't it kind of feel fun if they did? I
love it. I love a coach that swears without regret. I love, he pumps up his guys.
Aussies love that guy.
Watching some of their locker room stuff, like Terry McLaurin taking the team on it and really taking them before the game and pumping them up and telling them to be who they should be, and all this sort of What I can't remember what the quote was. What he said. Be who you say you are, and then really pumping them up. I love that. Absolutely love that about the team. It just gets me.
But then and I think there's a whole bunch of you call it the intangible, right? And that's sort of the momentum. It's the team who gets hot, and then the tangible is Philadelphia's only loss since week 4 is against this team when they didn't have their quarterback on the road, and it took to the 59th minute and 50 seconds for this other team to beat them in a game where the team who won gave up 33 points. So, is that really a win? I don't know that it is. But that's the only blemish on Philadelphia's record since week 4. So it's different when you're playing at home. We've seen this game at home before 15 weeks ago when the Commanders were young in the evolution. Do I think it's going to work out the same way? Well, no, because the Commanders are a different team. They come with a whole bunch of swagger and confidence they probably didn't have back then. But it really does. I think there's 2 camps here. There's how do you feel about the intangibles, the emotional, the narrative, and how do you feel about, like Brad said, the X's and O's? I think one team is better than the other, and it's not close. But that was true last week, and one team rolled up 45 points. So how smart do you get when you start breaking it down like that? There's just so much to be said for momentum in the playoffs.
Yep. So speaking of points, let's do some score predictions. Maddie's been tabulating all of these things through the whole playoff series. And before we start, Maddie, where are we at?
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Now, I'll give a quick scoreboard update here. And I'm adding Isaac in for this week too. So the graphic's going to look a little busier this week. But at the moment, hey, Ian and Nick, for G'day Gridiron, I think you guys might need to have a good hard look at yourselves in the offseason. You've picked 4 right so far. It's pretty tough. I mean, Brad, how do you feel having to be lumped together with these two chuckleheads?
Oh, it's just hey, everybody has a bad streak every now and then, but on the whole, they're gold.
Okay.
I do call Brad the number 1 analyst in the country.
You do. And
You've got each other's backs. Yeah.
Manjot and I are the middle markers. We've got 5 each. So, I'm giving you a whole bunch of shit, but I really have only picked 1 more, and Manjot's in the same boat as me. Tay has gone out and picked 6 right, and he's really, we talk to Tay all the time. He really spends his time in it. This boy's fantasy analysis is so good. But Brad is far and away. He's got 7 right so far, and he's clearly the bastion of smart when it comes to football in the group so far. But Isaac, this is your chance coming in with 3 games to go to just perfect streak this and take a claim to that title as well with Brad, because he's got 7 points. But mate, he's had a rollicking head start on you, mate.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll come in.
Put it in its place, mate.
So for this game, I reckon the Commanders stay hot, and it's going to be 34-27.
Oh,
wow.
I love it. Going contrarian right off the bat.
Dang.
It's so many points.
Love it.
Give it to me, baby.
Love it.
If you're not first, you're last.
I want to hear what Nick says, though, because he's been swinging for the fences, man. This is why his number hasn't matched Brad's, because he hasn't gone pen to paper. He's taken some outliers, and I just wonder if this is the moment where he succumbs to the Eagles.
Oh man, I've been looking at this game, and the whole talk around the game this week between these two teams has been focused on that last matchup where the Commanders got away with it. So one thing that people haven't really talked about is, this Philly defense is still meant to be good, but they still gave up 36 points in that game. So, Jalen Hurts was out. They may have won that game, but they still gave up, 3 touchdowns in that last quarter. Jane Daniels had 3 passing touchdowns in that last quarter to drag them over the line, and they were in front with the best running back in the game, with the best offensive line in the game. So that could have been an easy way to go, run the ball, first down, run the ball, chew the clock, which they didn't, and it didn't work. I look at this game, though, and with this game going back to Philly, Jalen Hurts doesn't look right. We said it before, it doesn't look right, but I think it's going to be a case of the Commanders are going to keep the game really close, really early. But I think in second halves, as we've seen with the Eagles in the playoffs, and a lot of them throughout the majority of the year, is that when you're good on both sides of the line, you can really dominate in second halves. You can outrun teams. You can stop runs. You can really get teams over the line. And I know that the Commanders had the comeback last time, but I think in Philly, it's a totally different ball game. It's going to be a bit cooler than obviously playing in the Dome. So there's going to be a lot more mistakes. So I think, if anything, the team that can't afford the mistakes is going to be Washington. They have to play perfect football to be able to win this, I think. Whereas Philly, there's a lot of variables. Jalen Hurts can throw for 90 yards and they can still win this game. But I just think it's going to be another big game. Saquon has rushed for 150 both times against the Commanders. So I think it's going to be him dragging that team over the line just with that great offensive line. And I'm going to go Philly to win 30-24. No upset in this game, unfortunately, although I would like Washington to go through.
All right. Well, Manjot, score.
Oh, here we go. So I do have to bring in some interesting stats here. So both quarterbacks are attempting to do something that hasn't been done at least in a while, if ever. Of course, Jaden Daniels looking to be a first rookie quarterback to lead his team to a Super Bowl. And for Jalen Hurts, well, for him, the streak that's on the line, the last 16 quarterbacks that have lost their first Super Bowl start, dating all the way back to 1994 with Stan Humphries for the Chargers. I mean, it's a long list of shit quarterbacks. They haven't made it back. So the last 16 quarterbacks who lost their first Super Bowl have not made it back to a Super Bowl. So one of these streaks is going to go this weekend for sure. I'm going to go here with the Eagles. As much as I hate to say it, as much of a Jaden Daniels fan as I am, as much as I want you to prove me wrong, Jaden, I feel like the Eagles in the first matchup, shall I say, they held Jaden Daniels to 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 191 yards in the air. And that was really, they had something there in terms of a blueprint to stop him. In the second game, I mean, Jaden Daniels had to throw 5 touchdowns and 2 picks just to beat them, which was just, it's just out of this world. 5 touchdowns is just an incredible day. So if Washington's going to win, they need at least 4 touchdowns from Jaden Daniels. But I think the Eagles aren't going to let that happen. I think I've got Philadelphia 35 and Washington I've got at 20.
Taylor,
mate, I haven't heard enough from Taylor. I need to hear what Taylor says.
I was going to say,
this guy has been into numbers, and we haven't heard anything from him yet. I've got to know.
Taylor, the 87.5 is out the fucking window now. So just give us some stuff.
Well, boys, I was going to bring up that last week you could have built the Great Wall of China with your ball sack quicker than I gave that Bills Ravens preview. So I thought I might take it a little bit easier tonight with the 7th person, let Isaac and some of the other guys have a chat, because I even listened back to that and went, holy shit, I spoke a lot. But look, in this one, there is one thing I sort of wanted to touch on. It's probably the opposite of what Nick brought up, because he obviously brought up that the Eagles struggled against them last time. But my main concern in this game for the Commanders specifically is I don't think it's getting talked about how bad the defenses they've come up against in these 2 playoff games have been. Like, oh my God, that Detroit Lions defense is horrible. Is a Kyle Pitt of arseholes. Like, it is so bad. Like, I cannot believe that their DC got a head coaching job. I think that defense, I understand they had so many people out, but that's all we can base it on, is the guys that turned up against the Commanders and played. And I use played in fucking quotation marks, because they were so bad. Like, they just did not stop the Commanders the entire game. They let them do everything they wanted. And I think in an indoor environment, I don't really think they put any pressure on Jaden Daniels at all. I think that's completely different in this game. Now, do I believe that Daniels is unflappable and is going to step up to this moment? Yes, I do. But my main issue is that they have basically come up against 2 of the worst secondaries in the league, in Tampa Bay and the Lions. They come up against Philly, who are top 10 both rushing defense and passing defense, including Philly being second best at defending receiving yards at 181.4 yards per game. Comparing that to the Lions, it's chalk and cheese. Like, this is not going to be an easy game for Daniels to move the ball like it was last week. It's not an indoor environment. It's going to be fucking cold as shit, and he's going to have to actually deal with the elements as well as a far better defense. So that's my concern. I'm not sitting here saying that I think the Eagles are going to blow them away, because I don't think you can do that to the Commanders. They haven't lost by more than 8 points since like week 1. Like, they are so unflappable, this team. I think Daniels is in for it. I just don't think he's going to have this like lead from the front domination game like he had against the Lions, against the Eagles defense. So that's my one concern. But I do think this is a close game. So Daniels is going to be in it at the end, and he's going to be a chance. But I see this being a bit lower scoring game than some of you guys have brought up. I've got the Eagles winning a 1-score game. I've got them winning 24-21. I think the Commanders aren't going to want to kick field goals. I've got them scoring 3 touchdowns, but I've got the Eagles just pipping them at 24-21.
Righto, Brad, do you want to hit us with a score?
Yeah. And I agree. I think Tay brings up some great points. The only one I would push back on a little bit is just that the last time they met, they did play in the snow, I believe. So Daniels does have a experience, and that's the 36-33 game when Hurts got knocked out. So he does have a little bit of experience in the bad weather. But I completely understand what you're saying, and especially about the defenses they went up against. I'm gonna go Eagles 30, Washington 24.
Wow.
Same score. There you go.
Same score as Nick.
So Brad,
is that okay?
So Brad,
it is.
Yeah.
So Brad, just a question before we move on. Who do you hate the most? Philly, Washington, or the Giants for giving up Saquon and for winning those meaningless games and giving the Commanders Jaden Daniels? Who do you hate the most?
You know what? Because me growing up, Washington,
or the Cowboys,
because
he definitely hates the Cowboys.
Yeah. But lately, in the last 20 years, the Eagles have been the one. So I gotta say, Washington's done their time. I feel like they've been in purgatory long enough. What's the only NFC team to not make it to the championship game in the last 32 years? Oh yeah, it's the Cowboys.
Let me go one better there. Brad, since 2010, every NFC team has made it apart from the Cowboys.
There you go. Okay. So yeah, thanks.
Much less.
Appreciate bringing all that up. Appreciate it, guys. So I feel like
digging that Commander's hole.
That Cowboys
Jacks have been twice in that time. What the fuck is going on?
Oh, it's pathetic. The Eagles fans.
I'm surprised the Vikings have been there. Trust me.
So to answer your question, Nick, I hate the Eagles. So yeah, that's the one I hate more.
But they're going to win. So, and I wrestled with a way to try and find because I don't know. I'm into the Commanders. I'm just kind of really into them. But the pragmatic part of me just can't let the emotional bit take over, and I just think the Eagles are going to kill them, and that. Yeah, there may be some junk time. That's going to be fun, but they're just so overmatched. It's kind of ridiculous. And I don't think I've picked a one-score game anywhere in the playoffs so far, and that's going to continue. I'm going to take Philly by 13 because I realize that it's a big number. Manjot's taken it by 15. But they're so overmatched, and it's really cute. They've been on a great run. I'm really happy if I'm proven wrong here because I think the Commanders are a fun story. But this is football analysis, and the analysis says the Eagles are going to kick him in the fucking teeth. They're just going to kick him in the teeth, and then when they're done kicking him in the teeth, they're going to kick him in the groin because that sounds like a better Philly thing to do. So I'm taking it's just going to be a simple 28-15. I think the Commanders will do some fun stuff. They may not punt a lot. They'll go for 2-pointers. They'll do whatever it is. They've got to magic up because when you are skill-wise a long way behind another team, you have to have to play outside of your skin. You have to play outside of yourself. You have to roll the dice more times. And I don't think that's a formula that you can continue to ask for. They have done that for the last few weeks. And I just think, you cannot continue to roll a 6 every turn. And their 6s run out. But if they do roll another 6, I'll still enjoy it. But that's not where the analysis takes me. The analysis, I'm just going 28-15, Eagles for the win. Ian, you're going to sing us out?
Yep. I guess I will. Yeah, I think they will roll that 6, Matty. I think that they are up against it, and I think the fact that they're up against it is they will play the way they want to play because they are up against it, and they will just go for it. And I am going, as I said, big scores the last 6 weeks from the Commanders, and it usually means that their defense is also giving up big scores. It just seems to be the way they're playing because the opposing offense has to really go for it as well. So I reckon big scoring game. That 47.5, I think it is set at the moment, that line. I think that is way too low for this game. And Jesus. I reckon 45-38 to the Commanders.
Ooh, yes, please.
Damn, I'd love a game like that. I mean, last week, Ian, you had that high-scoring prediction as well for Commanders and Lions, and goddamn, that was done in like one half. That was done in the second quarter, even. Yeah, so might want to put that on the multi potentially later on.
Yeah, give me points. Feed me points.
All right, so I've got Isaac 34-27, and of course they're Ian with 45-38. They're the Washington tips, and then both Nick and Brad 30-24 Eagles. Taylor 24-21 Eagles. Manjot 35-20 Eagles. I've gone in there too 28-15 Eagles. 5 versus 2, and we'll see who gets all the wasted branded across their face because that's ever since Manjot said that week 1. Being wasted if you get it wrong. That's where we've gone. That's where we've gone. And if we're all wrong on one, and we've had that a few times, we just call that reverse jinx territory. So, there you go.
Look, I've just got to ask as well, for the 5 of us to pick the Eagles, how much do we want us to be wrong? Like, how much do we want the Commanders?
No,
I want to be wrong.
Yeah, you got no idea.
So bad.
I said
So
in like week 2 or 3 that I would never pick against my own team again the whole season. I would always pick with my heart. And my heart constantly tells me that I hate the Eagles and I won't pick them. So
I love that. I know I'm going to be contrarian here and just say I don't actually think there's a wrong answer here because either the better team wins or the funnest team wins, and they're both great. To me, football wins with this matchup.
I don't want to see the possibility of a Chiefs-Eagles Super
God,
Bowl
no.
again.
No, please
God,
no.
No.
God, no.
Please
No.
no.
Absolutely.
Brad's gonna have
rather-
to be a Chiefs fan again.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'd rather, that martial arts training where they kick you in the dick like 100 times. I'd rather do that than watch that Super Bowl. I'd fly out to some martial arts temple or something somewhere in the world, and I'd do that. Literally,
I'll come
do
around.
that.
I'll come around. I'm 10 minutes away. I'll come around and I'll kick you in the dick 100 times. I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll let him do that.
Video
on
it.
camera. Fuck
Your
it.
whole
Yeah,
thing.
let's go.
It's a Monday, and I will go to work instead of watching that as a Super Bowl. I
No,
swear
you
to
won't.
God.
It's a public holiday.
This might hurt the man
No, the
what
Super
the wife
Bowl.
thing we are talking about
Ah,
before,
sorry.
but I would 100% be in for that.
I'm not going to work this Monday. Hell no.
I'm,
Not without double time and a half, that's for sure.
on Tuesday, we'll set up a GoFundMe page to send Manjot to a remote temple to get kicked in the dick.
Yeah.
And then
They'll fund that.
find a wife.
Oh.
Sorry, that's a bit of a throwback to our green rooms chat. So,
I mean, what use of a wife would there be at that point?
I
Support.
Someone's got to rub it better, Manjot.
Support.
Someone.
Wait till you've been married 30 years. Then you can answer that question.
I know Brad was very quick on this with the Tinder profiles question about, just helping deflated balls. And I think, Manjot, you would be in that territory.
Yeah.
Also, Brad's been kicked in the balls daily for 30 years. So.
Yeah, exactly. I got to take him off the mantle every time I leave the house.
I've just had mine removed, so simple.
Got two
God, I'm waiting for Taylor. Yeah, come on, Taylor. What's
There's
your
no
joke?
Taylor. What are you doing, Tay?
I tried to speak. He spoke all over me. No, I just literally said he had 2 grapefruits hanging in those undies.
I mean, he's taken the Eagles by 15. That takes some grapefruits for a guy who hates the Eagles. So, I don't know. I've also got a bit of begrudging respect for Manjot.
Righto.
Yeah.
Speaking of Manjot, time for AFC Championship football. Bills at Chiefs in the annual Arrowhead Invitational game. Once again, the Buffalo Bills are going to meet the Kansas City Chiefs at home. So, Manjot is going to kick us off with some analysis and some setup for this game.
Yes, indeed. And I'm trying to follow in the lead of my idol, Taylor Goodall, last week. I mean, he had such a great intro for the Bills-Ravens game. I feel like I have to give something very similar here. So here goes nothing, everyone. So let's just throw this one back to a random point in time. Going back to December 26th, 2023 Australian time, Christmas Day 2023 in American time. National televised game. The Las Vegas Raiders out of nowhere shocked the Kansas City Chiefs. It was just an absolute kick in the teeth. Changed both franchises forever. Of course, the Raiders have one season with Antonio Pierce after. But for the Chiefs, they were so damn hurt after that game that they went on a crazy run in the next 23 games. They just came off a Super Bowl win against the Eagles, and they were just going even harder. In the last 23 games, they won a Super Bowl, they won an AFC Championship, obviously on the way to that Super Bowl, and they've won 22 out of those 23 games since Christmas Day of 2023. But I said 22 out of 23, 22-1. What's that one? Of course, it was Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills came in. They were hosting the Chiefs in Buffalo in cold weather. Josh Allen just doing Josh Allen things. It was week 10. The Chiefs were 9-0, and he just shocked the world. Absolutely ran in that touchdown to seal it, and they won by a couple scores in the end. At the start of that game, it just felt like the Bills, they knew how to read Mahomes, and they were just absolutely just reading him well. Interception on the first drive. They were just going all different places in that game, and they were just incredible. It was an incredible run there for the Bills in that game during week 11. And after knocking off the 9-0 Chiefs, the Chiefs with Mahomes, they did not lose for the rest of the year. Of course, they won. They lost with Wentz, but I don't count that game in all their stats, by the way, for anyone just shouting at their TV. But look, for the Chiefs, this is a team that comes in. They have done a really good job defensively. 9th ranked defense this season. Offensively, despite having the great Patrick Mahomes, they have been only ranked 16th, 14th in passing, 22 in rushing. Meanwhile, ranks for the Bills, 10th in offense. I mean, that's pretty much just Josh Allen at this point. 17th in defense, 9th in passing, 9th in rushing on offense there. So for both teams, it's really going to come down to a match between a top 10 offense in Buffalo, a top 10 defense in Kansas City. That is really where this matchup is going to hinge on Josh Allen. Can he finally get over the hump? There have been playoff heartbreaks after playoff heartbreaks. This Bills and Chiefs rivalry has been absolutely incredible. It started off in the 2020 AFC Championship game. The Chiefs won that 38-24. In 2021, in the divisional round, the Chiefs 42-36 in overtime when they only needed 13 seconds to go down the field. And 2023 in the AFC divisional, the Chiefs won it 27-24. So despite having a 4-4 record against each other, Allen and Mahomes, well, Mahomes has had a 3-0 record against Allen in the playoffs. It has got the makings of an absolute classic. Two heavyweights going at it. This is the AFC Championship the people have wanted. They have wanted to see the end of this two-time dynasty. And what better challenger than a guy like Josh Allen leading his team just throughout this whole season. He has been absolutely incredible. And I can't wait to hear you boys just break this one down, because I feel like I've just set this one up for the rest of you. Let's get into some more stats. I don't know who to throw it to first. I reckon I'll throw it to Taylor first. Why not?
Yeah, this is a funny one when you actually break it down stats-wise, because there's kind of not really an edge to either team in any capacity. It's a funny one where, like, you look at it, say the Chiefs are 8th against rushing, rushing attacks, which obviously is very good, 104.4 rushing yards per game. They're 19th against the pass, but I don't know. I kind of still don't look at them as being susceptible. They were missing guys for a huge chunk of the season. They've got them back. They look like their secondary is a bit more set up than what you've seen over most of the year. But 19th against passing, 220.3 yards per game. And the problem is, like, you could look at that and say, hey, the Chiefs are a bit more susceptible to the pass than the run. But the problem is the Bills aren't really set up to do that. Like you even saw last week, they won a game against the Ravens throwing for 120 yards. They don't need to. They don't really have the horses to dominate you in the air, even though they've got Josh Allen, who's Superman. They don't seem to need to do that. And with Joe Brady as their OC, they don't really run an offense where it's just pegging the shit out of the ball and taking advantage of a secondary that you might actually be able to beat anyway. And then you look on the flip side where the Chiefs are up against the Bills. The Bills are kind of middle of the pack in both. I was actually surprised. They've been better on the whole year in rushing defense. They're actually 12th. But when you actually break that down, it's probably because it's more probably that they've been in front in a lot of games more so than their actual rush defense being good. So there probably is an opportunity there. But then you look at the Chiefs, they aren't really a prototypical team that's going to run the ball down your throat either. Like you're looking at Kareem Hunt and like a hobbled Pacheco. It's not really this like rush attack that I'm super worried about either. And then they've got a pretty good secondary that's at least able to stop the Chiefs. And they did give up some explosives to Baltimore last week in the passing game. But the problem is, again, the Chiefs aren't really the prototypical team these days to actually burn you with explosives. It's the opposite. They're going to be dumping off to Worthy and, dumping off to Kelsey. It's not going to be these ridiculously big Tyreek Hill old school plays where they're throwing for 50-yard bombs. Like it's almost like they've almost snookered each other in a lot of different ways. So really, you got to almost go back to just the old school approach of look at the quarterbacks, and that makes it hard too because you're looking at a guy who statistically is so dominant over the other at the moment in the regular season stats. But we all know you've Mahomes, you got to throw that shit out the window. It's Mahomes just grows another leg when it comes to the playoffs, and whether it's like actually getting yards or actually getting touchdowns or fucking flopping and getting the refs to fucking give him a call, it's all part of the Andy Reid Chiefs experience. Like that's what they do best. And that's how they win games. And you have to, as much as we all fucking hate it, you have to tip your cap for it. And when you're doing analysis, you have to actually factor that shit in. So it is a really tough one. The way I've kind of looked at it is I feel like this is going to be one of these games where the Chiefs either win a close one or the Bills win comfortably. I kind of don't see anything in between because I really feel like if this game comes down to the wire, the Chiefs are going to pull it out because they always do. It's hard to do anything else. Whereas I can see Josh Allen taking over this game and then winning by maybe not a full 2 scores, but winning by, say, 10 points. So I feel like they kind of have to do that to finally knock over this Chiefs voodoo. I feel like they've got to put it like sort of out of Mahomes' reach on the final play. So, look, again, it's one I'm still sort of toying with an actual like pick exactly, but that's the way I'm sort of seeing it. Is there isn't an obvious like flaw that I think either team's going to exploit, but it's going to be one of those ones of if it's anything like what we see out of the regular season, I think Josh Allen is the horse you want to sort of be on compared to him and Mahomes. But when it comes to the playoffs, do you really want to be tipping against Mahomes? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting one-score stat as well. They've won their last 16 or so one-score games, and it's just incredible how good they have been in one-score games there, Tay, just to add to that.
I think when Minnesota did that a couple of years ago, it's like, well, actually, that's lucky and that regresses. But when Kansas do it, people are kind of like, actually, maybe that's not so lucky. What I don't think people are saying that they said about a team who did similar things in the past was, doesn't this Kansas City team kind of look like the sort of team that can embarrass you by winning a game like 19-8? Like, I'd realize that's probably not what's going to happen here because the Bills' offense is better than that. But the defense has been so good, it just has not asked Mahomes to be the Mahomes who's known for the bulk of his career. He's been a fantasy darling. I spent all of my time in fantasy. So to then transpose into just the X's and O's and talk about in the NFL terms, it's hard to separate that. But this year, he's showing us that maybe that doesn't have to be who he is. But very much, it feels a lot like that Legion of Boom, Seattle sort of team where you can score 20 and just win a shit ton, and you can embarrass a team by scoring 20 because the defense has been fantastic, really, really fantastic. And I also think there's something probably in those passing stats that, when you lead games, and they lead games a lot, it doesn't have to be by a heap, but all you have to do is make sure you're ahead at the end, is that there is plenty of soft passing yards given away at the end of games because you're trying to bend, not break. And this is kind of where Seattle were great at that. They'd really clamp you down on the run. They'd force you to pass. And a lot of that passing volume would come in the second half in a game that your opponent was trailing, and they were kind of false numbers in a lot of ways. So where we're saying, okay, Kansas is 19th against the pass, and that makes them mediocre or maybe not even that good. I kind of feel like that's very situationally driven. And I've got a lot of confidence in Kansas at home in a playoff against the Bills. I think you can throw a lot of the regular season stuff out where the Bills have won 4 of the last 5. I actually kind of feel like that's nice. It's kind of cute, but we're in the playoffs in Arrowhead against a team who just have not lost at Arrowhead. They've won their last 11 games there, and I don't know that I could back against them.
Excellent. Well, lots of amazing opinions, boys. I don't know. For me, I'm still, I think, on the Bills train. I think I'm still that way. I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl at the start of the season. If you go way back to the beginning of the season with G'day Grid Eye and the boys where we did all our preseason stuff, I said Chiefs. I ridiculously said Chiefs to not lose a game. What did I say? 7-0. Went crazy. So, but I just don't know. We get to this end of the season. I've been watching one of those Chiefs are playing, and yes, they've been playing really, really well. But as a lot of you guys have said, I don't know whether you can really the whole one-score game. You can sort of. I don't know whether you can rely on that against the Bills, and the Bills have been pretty good for some weird one-score games as well. So I don't know. I'm leaning Bills, but I'm still flip-flopping a bit before I guess I go scores. Some of you boys are sort of swaying me with some opinions one way or the other, whether you know it or not. Isaac, we haven't heard much from you yet. What do you think over there, mate?
So for me, I did a bit of research on this one, and I looked up the AFC Championship games where the Chiefs have played the Bills. As Manjot said, Josh Allen is 0-3, and he's got a passer rating in all of those. So in 2020, he had a passer rating of 80. In 2021, in that overtime game, he had a passer rating of 136. And then last year, he had a passer rating of 86.1. And when I delved into that further, I looked at Mahomes' playoff record and his passer ratings in all of his playoff games. And if Mahomes scores over 100 in the passer rating, the Chiefs win. So when he played the Bills in those championship games, in 2020, he had a passer rating of 127. 2021, he had a passer rating of 123. And last year, he had a passer rating of 131. So if Mahomes can get over that 100 mark, I think the Bills will win. And that's the way I'm tipping as well.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, on that, let's get scores from everybody. We'll go around the ground. Final scores. So Maddie can note them down, tabulate them up, put them in the graphics, and we can see come next week where we landed. Let's go with Nick first up.
So looking into this one as well, I've actually come up with another stat. I don't know if Manjot brought it up earlier, but the 3-0 that Mahomes has over Josh Allen in the playoffs, no one has won. No quarterback has gone 4-0 against another quarterback in the playoffs. The most recent one was Phillip Rivers against Tom Brady, to which Tom Brady went 3-0 against. So this would be the first time ever if Mahomes does do it. And I do think there's a lot on the line for both. Well, obviously both these teams, of course, because it's a playoff game, it's a championship game. But, Allen has had, arguably, in my opinion, should be the MVP. He's top 2 candidate regardless. He is trying to finally get over that hump, trying to get into the Super Bowl and trying to win his first ring. Patrick Mahomes, he's been there, he's done it. But really, this team, from what people say, they get lucky, all of this, refs, call these calls. But at the end of the day, they are in, you've seen it too many times. They are in cruise control until they get to this point, and then Andy Reid brings out all this stuff, and he's got all these gadgets now. And I just think these players that they've sort of picked up from the off season all the way through. So they had Hollywood Brown, who's done nothing. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins, who's been in and out of games. They've got Travis Kelce bringing himself back up. Pacheco is a bit banged up. So they have got a lot of guys who have been in these spots. So Kelce, Pacheco's had some good playoff games. They have been in these spots. So I just feel like if there's going to be something that happens in this game, it's going to be from one of these guys that hasn't done much all year with the Chiefs, but they're just going to pop up and they're going to do something big, whether it's going to be Hollywood Brown or whether it's going to be even Xavier Worthy. They've used him in such a variety of ways, but I just don't think the Bills have that sort of luxury where I can't see like Amari Cooper just popping up and, Joe Brady schemes up something for him or, Keon Coleman or something like that. I just think the Chiefs have just a bit more strings to their bow in this game. And it's unfortunate because I really do want the Bills to win. And, they, even though it was the drop Mark Andrews pass last week, I still think they were pretty much in firm control of that game for most of that game. Whether, Baltimore should have run the ball or not is regardless of the end goal. But I really don't want them to get through, but I think the Chiefs are going to get through. And I think it is going to be a low-scoring game. I think both defenses are going to clamp up. I think it's going to be a game where there's going to be not much running. The quarterback's going to have to be on display. There's going to be a lot of sloppiness, a lot of non-third down conversions and fourth down tries. So I'm going to go the Chiefs to win it, and I think they're going to win it 17-13.
Ooh, low scoring.
Nice, Brad.
I like it. You guys have heard all the stats. You've said all the stats. It's true, and everything you said is 100% in favor of the Chiefs. And just to prove your point again, even more, the Bills have struggled against playoff teams. They've only gone 2-3 against playoff teams this season, and this is one stat that I found interesting. Of the 4 teams, they have given up 108 more yards against playoff teams than any of the other teams. So, and they've given up an average of 33 points. So, which is the fourth most by a playoff team. So it's all the stats point towards Chiefs. But the Bills just, again, I think we all agreed last week, and when I chose the Bills and a couple of the others of you chose the Bills, we felt like it was just a team that was kind of on playing above their heads, and we picked them to win because we said, okay, as a team, they're just playing well, even though they probably shouldn't. And you play that Ravens game 10 times, and the Ravens are winning it 8 times. But there just felt something magical and momentum was on the Bills' side. And so that's why I chose the Bills, and a couple of others of you did as well. And it's just, I feel like this Bills team is a little bit more complete than previous teams. They don't need Allen to be Superman. They've got a decent running game. So their defense still got carved up. You saw that in the second half and in last week's game. But but they can make the stops when they need to. So, all that said, when it comes to picks, I should be taking the Chiefs because, especially with my lead in our little competition, because I'm on fire like a goat's butt in a pepper patch. But frankly, I am going to be taking Buffalo in a low scoring one. So I'm going Buffalo 27, Chiefs 24.
In a low scoring one, there's 51 points, and that's over the over-under. Aren't you a maths teacher?
Yeah. Nothing like a bit of maths this time of night to really bring it home, Brad. Well done.
Absolutely.
So the goat's ass in a pepper patch as well. I need to highlight that again. That's amazing.
Well, my picks have been pretty good. I'll admit that. So I'm on fire like a goat's butt in a pepper patch.
Does the goat's ass start sneezing? Is that the point of the pepper?
Where did you grow up to get these? This is the amazing thing to me is that how many goats in pepper patches are there in Oregon? I just need to know. I just need to know.
Goats will eat anything, like literally anything.
They will. Yep, that is true.
Yeah, you put 2 and 3 together and you get 5.
I just love this guy. Okay, that's all I need to check.
Fair enough.
That's it. I'm just fact checking over here.
There's no rhyme or reason to my brain.
All right, there's not a lot I can say. I'm struggling to not die tonight. So you've always sort of swayed me one way then the other, and then some of you were sort of talking the Chiefs up, and I think that's still sending me the opposite direction. The Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21 in week 11, and I think I'm sticking with the same scoreline, Matty. Bills 30, Ooh! Chiefs 21.
2 scores.
Nice. How cool would that be?
2 scores. That's balls out.
This balls to the wall. Yeah. So
All right.
good.
Let's go to Manjot. I need to hear.
Manjot.
He was all over the. It sounded like he was going Bills this year. I just need to quell my curiosity.
Oh man, I have been going back and forth over this one. I'm sounding like Taylor last week when he was previewing Bills and Ravens. I had the exact same approach as Taylor to this preview because I've been so back and forth with this one. Because for one, I mean, we all know, we've heard it last episode, just how much I goddamn hate that Kansas City team. I cannot tell you how much hatred. There is so much hatred in here in my body for that Kansas City team. I do not want them to be in the Super Bowl. On the other hand, I can see them be the better team in this one. I know I've been burnt before going against Kansas City in the playoffs. I've done it many times. I've learned it the hard way. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it again. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Go, Bills Mafia. Let's go.
Buffalo. Let's go. My score prediction. Now, it's going to be very interesting. I think, just like Taylor said, I think they have to win by at least 2 scores. But I think it will be around a 10-point game. I'm going to go with a good one here, 35-24.
Ooh, 11 points. So double-digit wins in both, Manjot says. 15 in the NFC game, 11 here.
I'm bullish. I just, look, one of the picks was from my head, one of them was my heart. Let me just say that. I don't care. I don't care if I get this Bills one wrong.
What about Ramish? What does Isaac say?
I'm hearing you guys squabble over this game for the week. I have not squabbled at all. The Chiefs are going to win. The Chiefs do what the Chiefs do in the playoffs. And against Josh Allen, Spagnuolo's got his number on the defense. I think they win 24-10.
Whoa, 14.
I love it.
Not pulling punches. Jesus
These scores are ridiculous so far.
24-10.
I'm supposed to be the dumb one. Okay.
All right. Well, Taylor. You got to bring this in, man. What's going on here? We've got 2 each side. Three Bills, 2 Chiefs. Are you going to be the equalizer, or are you going to press this sucker home for the Bills?
So, Matty, you've known me for a while in the fantasy show, and you know
it's been like 12 years, and they've been hard, mate. Oh my god.
What's one when it comes to some starts of the weeks and just games in general? Like, do I normally just pass up an opportunity to gamify something, or do I actually just go ahead and do what I would have done normally? I'll answer that for you myself. I gamify everything, and this is going to be the biggest cop out in history. But because Brad Cummins took Bills, I have to take the Chiefs. It's a cop out. I want to try and catch him and win, and honestly, that's the only way I'm going to do it. Now, that's not analysis on the game, and I'll be honest, I already spoke about the game, and I was incredibly close either way anyway. I think a part of me wanted him to go Chiefs because I honestly do have a slight sort of, I guess, leaned the Bills only because obviously I took them in the bracket. I have them against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and there hasn't really been anything I've seen from them that's made me sort of change my mind. But I guess with the Chiefs is, Isaac actually hit the nail on the head. I think Spagnuolo makes a massive difference. He seems to just be able to get inside the other OC's head, and if they aren't going to be able to run the ball with James Cook and just get it done on the ground, I think that they might actually struggle with Allen having to try and unleash some of their wide receivers because they just don't really have the cattle. And that worries me a little bit for the Bills. But I also just want to say, and I know it's going to be my ass is going to get splinters sitting on a fence, and I'll probably break the fence and destroy it, being the fucking size I am. But I do think this Bills team is at least set up better than some of the previous ones, just the way they play. They aren't I know they rely on Josh Allen, but it's not like relying on Josh Allen's arm. He isn't trying to peg 80-yard touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Plus, he doesn't turn the ball over anymore. They've got an offense where they don't let him essentially decide the game completely. It's not like, all right, this guy's going to destroy us or win us the game. It's like, how do we actually use his abilities without turning him into this guy that can turn the ball over a game and lose it? It's an offense I think set up better for playoff football than I've seen in the past with the Bills. So I do like them. But again, we're talking about Chiefs at Arrowhead. It's so fucking hard. Like, if this game is in one score, it's just so hard to see the Chiefs not winning. So I've admitted my bias in the way that I'm picking, but I am going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to take the exact same score that I took in the first game. I'm going to take Chiefs 20-21.
Wow. Okay, doke.
A Butker field goal.
24, 21.
A Butker field goal, kicking him in the Butker.
All right, keep that in mind for the fantasy game, guys. Keep that in mind.
All right, Matty.
We bucked a field goal. All right, and now I'm going to keep mine short because I just don't know how you go into Kansas, beat Kansas in their own field with, I know he's not in the MVP race this year because MVP is very much about a very contained series of games, and Kansas have not wowed people in the way that, builds a great narrative for the wow factor that the NFL's after. But this is the best team at home, and they're going to win with a little bit of comfort. I mean, I don't know that, I don't know that Kansas need to win by 2 scores. I'm pretty happy watching them just continue this 1-score thing because they do it in a way where, you can get to it being a 1-score game. Sometimes they win it because they just hang on to that 1-score lead after their opposing side have come in and shrunk a 2-score game. Sometimes they do it from coming from behind. I don't know that they're going to need to come from behind because you know what travels in this league? Defense. Are they traveling? No, but they got the better one. So I'm pretty happy to lean on that. We're going to see them going to another Super Bowl. We're going to see, I also think there's that whole thing around, doesn't the league just love Kansas in the Super Bowl? I mean, as fans, we got sick of Seattle really damn quickly. And I can see that there's definitely some fatigue about the Chiefs. But Seattle stopped being a very good team very quickly, and Kansas haven't. So I'm just going to continue to lean. They're a really good team. They're going to continue to win games, and they're going to beat this damn Bills team. They just are. And I'm going to take them. Ready for it? 1 score, 26-22.
Oh, wow. It's an interesting scoreline there, Matty. I mean, I was very interested with the Seattle comparison because, I would expect you fully to make a Patriots dynasty comparison. That's how sick everyone is. Yeah. I mean, you've been burnt by that dynasty, Matty. I know. It's tough. It's tough.
Miles Jack was not down. We all know.
He was not. That was one of the biggest robberies of all time. I'll never forgive the rest of that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to touch quickly again. This is the kind of game that the Bills have to lead the whole way, I think. Like, I don't think that
Great.
I guess the problem of what I just brought up when I kind of brought it up as a positive is I just don't think this Bills team's set up to come from behind. And Brad sort of hit the nail on the head that they've been pretty bad against the top teams this year. And I think it's because they're not set up to come from behind against good teams. So if the Chiefs lead, even if it's like 9-0 from 3 field goals or something, that's where I feel like you could actually see the worst in this Bills team. You could actually see Josh Allen trying to do too much and out of his comfort zone. And the fact is he doesn't actually have the horses to throw to. And so it's going to be a tough one for them. So it's going to be one of these games that I kind of feel like we might know like a quarter and a half into this game what the result's going to be. Because I just think if the Chiefs are leading, it's going to be hard for the Bills to reel them in with the way that their team's set up. But if the Bills can get on the front foot and just sort of run it down the Chiefs' throat, that's where I think they're going to win this game, which is the complete opposite of the way we've seen Bills-Chiefs games in the past, like 42-36 and stuff like that. I don't see it being like that at all. I really think that the Bills have got to get in front, and whoever gets in front is probably just going to try and basically defend the whole rest of the game.
Yeah, so Taylor, you're basically saying it's like the 2020 AFC Championship game, the first time they met, when you kind of just knew Kansas City was going to win after after 2 quarters. It kind of felt like, it's Kansas City all the way. So I think you're kind of saying that sort of vibe compared to sort of the last 2 playoff games they played where it was just real close. So, yeah, I mean, I could totally see it. One fun stat for me as well, just to remind you again. So 3 of us have picked the Bills. That means, 3 of us are going against a lot of tradition. Only 2 quarterbacks have won in Arrowhead. I did bring this up last week. Joe Burrow in the championship game, Tom Brady in the championship game as well. So just want to bring that one up again, just to show you what Josh Allen's going up against.
Well, and this divides us a couple of different ways. So we've got 3 guys who have picked the under. It's 47.5 is the point total currently, thanks to Aussie markets on Sportsbet. That's Isaac at 24-10, 34 points. Nick, even lower than that, 17-13. What's that, 30 points? And then Taylor with his 24-21 comes in at 45 points. But then we're also split 4-3 a different way because, as Manjot says, we've got 3 on the Bills, 4 on the Chiefs. It'll be super interesting. Okay, so we've mentioned those 3. I also took the Chiefs 26-22. But then the 3 Bills, we've got 27-24 Brad. Ian goes 30-21, a repeat of the earlier score in the matchup from earlier in the season at Orchard Park. And then Manjot going even harder, picking a 2-score, a double-digit win, 35-24 with an exclamation point. That is where we land, guys. It's 4 Chiefs, 3 Bills. And in the earlier game, it is 5 Eagles, 2 Commanders. Can't wait. I'm glad we haven't swept either of them.
Yeah, super glad actually because that hasn't worked out.
I hope I'm wrong with both.
Yeah,
we're 50.
I'm really hoping it's Bills.
By the way, guys,
I'm really hoping it's Buffalo, Washington, but fuck.
Well, you should have picked it.
Yeah. Well, you've seen the maps of America this week. Yeah. It's all blue and all maroon.
Yeah.
It's all a lot of things, Manjot, that shouldn't be happening in America.
There's a ton.
All right. Bloody best bets, playoff edition.
We're having a punt, having a slap, just having some fun, and then making some scratch. It's the good 8 gridirons, bloody best bets.
It's the AGN multi. Last week was, as Taylor described it earlier, just a bucket of shit. And it was. 6 legs, 2 wins, 4 losses. The losses, Nick picked the Lions minus 8.5. Taylor got Rams, Eagles under 44.5. Nope.
Oh, my God.
Manjot got King Henry plus 110 rush yards. Nope. I picked Dallas Goedert anytime TD. He was the only starting TD on a team last week to not get a touchdown. Fuck you.
Betting.
Because I did actually have a big multi with every tight end this week that I stuck in there, and Dallas got it really just owned that one for me. The wins. Brad gets Jaden Daniels plus 234.5 passing yards. Oh, yeah. He had 299. And Matty C, only Rashad Bateman, anytime TD. He had him for anytime TD. He was the first scorer of the match, first touchdown.
Oh, that would have paid like $20.
It would have been insane.
Easy. More.
And
still, 285 anytime. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, so
I got a bit of shit for that, actually.
That was actually really good. What a call by Matty C.
That was before we knew Zay Flowers was going to be out too. So that was balls, balls of steel.
Yeah, that was very good actually. So, all right, let's move forward to this week. One line from everybody. Any single line you can find on Sportsbet or TAB right now in Australia. 7 lines. What a multi this is going to be. This is going to be our biggest yet. So, Matty C probably had the biggest swing last week. Do you want to take a swing this week with that big old dick?
You're never going to get a guy with more confidence, right? And I'm no bet. So this is it's heady stuff now. Do I take the first touchdown guy? Because, I kind of feel like you can go anytime like I did with Rashad Bateman, but I kind of now feel like he scored the first touchdown. Maybe I should just work on that market.
Yeah, it's a good market. It's a solid market.
I know. Okay, so what I'll do, I've got a guy who I think is an anytime touchdown, and I just think you just got to get Kareem Hunt. He's $2.75, but there's no way that Pacheco's getting that touchdown off Kareem Hunt at Arrowhead in a championship game. But do you stick with the anytime where he's $2.75, or do you go first where it's like $9?
Yeah, well, hedging your bet, it's just go on the anytime, because if it's not the first, at least you've got the rest of the game to get it.
Yeah, let's just go anytime because everyone else is playing on this, and I've got a bit of an ego, but my ego's not that big.
A bit.
Matty C out.
Matty C. Righto. Kareem Hunt, anytime TD from Matty C. Let's go to Manjot.
Yes, indeed. And there's one guy that has been lining it up for the Commanders. Very underrated player in the 2 playoff games this season. that he's had over 89 yards in this one. And Sportsbet, surprisingly, his line on there is 44.5 receiving yards. I'm talking about De'Ami Brown. I think I'm going to hit the over on that receiving yards. He's hit that in the 2 playoff games, as I said, and he hit that against Philly as well the last time they played. So 3 out of his last 4 games, he has hit that 44.5. So I'm hitting the over there.
Let me just dive deep into the lines to find De'Ami Brown for 44.
I was the one guy I was looking for best bets this week was literally De'Ami Brown. I had my the entire search history of me is De'Ami Brown like props this week. I swear.
I'm sure that's all it was. I'm sure that's all your search history is this week.
Yes, sir.
Righto, let's go. Isaac's always been great for. He's another non-better traditionally. So Isaac's been great for a bit of a swing, a bit of a roughie, a bit of a long shot, mate.
I'm sticking with my mate Mandrop there, but I'll go anytime touchdown scorer for De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, De'Ami. Let's go.
And just a little side note for Taylor there. Grant Calcaterra to anytime touchdown scorer, $23.
Mate, don't think
Don't tempt him.
how many.
I can't tell you how.
What's the over under on Orange's peel on the sideline?
I mean, Isaac, I was this close to going to anytime touchdown scorer as well, but there you go, man.
He connects well with Daniels.
He does.
Yep, righto. It's $4.40. That's an outstanding line at $4.40. Taylor.
Well, Isaac going something with a bit of meat on the bone sort of makes me feel better about mine. So I was going to be a knob and ask if there was a possibility that I could multi two together just to be a wanker. But Maddie actually, one of mine was Kareem Hunt over 35.5 yards. But I was like, Maddie's sort of taken the Kareem Hunt side of it anyway. He was just one that I thought, given that he seems to actually be getting more of the rush attempts over Pacheco, I thought that was a very low line. But I'll go away from that, and I'm actually taking something that's only sitting at $1.60, but I just feel like as a multi-builder, it's a very good one, and it's one that I've been keeping an eye on, and I feel like it works well for this game. But it's Austin Eckler over 2.5 receptions. So I did look at his just general line of 24.5 yards, but I just think in this game he's going to get a lot of dump offs. I just feel like they're not going to be able to run on this Eagles team well. So when they're going to bring Eckler in, I think they're going to look for him in the passing game. So I've gone with him over 2.5 receptions because I think there's the opportunity. There could be a game where he has 3 for 18 or something, and I'll still be on the winning side. I don't want to take over on the yards and him get a whole bunch of dump offs but don't get the yards. So this Eagles defense is good, so there is a chance that he doesn't break off a huge play. So I just thought that I would go the over 2.5 yards at I think it's $1.57 technically, but yeah, I feel like it's a good multi-builder.
$1.57. It's a pretty solid line for Eckler. All right, the G'day Gridiron boys.
4 for 40 on last one.
What'd you say? Sorry.
I was just saying, it's 4 for 40 odd last week, and I feel like this Lions defense sort of projects the same way as the Eagles do. They're very good against the rushing game, but they can be susceptible to running backs catching the ball. So that's why I thought that I would take, a running back more for receptions than rushing yards.
Yeah.
Oh, Taylor, I did want to add to that. In the first game against Philly, at Philly, he had 8 catches for 89 yards.
So, like, anyone that's listening, go higher if you want. You can go 3.5 or 4.5 or whatever. I just thought the 2.5 made sense as a multi-builder. But if you just take a 3.5 or 4.5, I think he could have a lot of receptions. Have a lot of receptions in this game.
Righto. The G'day Gridiron boys, famous for betting these days. Let's go with Brad.
Yeah, so I had a couple bets that I was going back and forth on, especially early in the week with the Chiefs total points just for the Chiefs. It opened up at like 28, 29, but I just checked and they've dropped and it's all the way down to like 24, 25. So I'm going to bypass that one. But the one I like that actually I feel like it swung more in my favor is the Terry McLaurin over on yardage. So That one opened up the week at like 70 and it's dropped down to 64. So I'm taking the over just because on that, because you've seen Washington, they just feed him the ball, and he's got, he's been arguably the best receiver in the playoffs. So I think you're gonna see more of that, even if it's garbage time. I think it's only paying $1.88, but I still think that's as a multi-builder, that's a really good value.
Is him dropping in yards total got anything to do with Quinion Mitchell? Because I assume he'll be playing, but I know he locked him down the first time they played Philly.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're spot on. I'm just banking on them, just force feeding it to him.
Oh, I think you're right by taking it. That's why I think you're getting a good value, though, is because I think people are getting worried about that first matchup, then dropping his yardage total, but you're sort of zigging where everyone else is zagging and going, I think it's too low now because of that. And then you feel like he could still bust it. He could have not a huge catch total. It could be 3 for 70 and you win.
Exactly.
Could have like a couple of massive plays, and I could actually have him.
Yeah. I llove that so far. Out of 6 bets, there is one on the Kansas City Buffalo game. It's amazing because that's force getting my bet right now. We're also going for a double stack in bets. Speaking of Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, anytime TD for me, $2.50.
Love it.
They feed him as we were just talking about, and
just need Diami Brown and McLaurin.
I know.
Maybe we're wanting a big Washington day for this multi to get up.
Yeah, we are. So, all right,
35 points.
We've left Nick to lucky last because Nick, mate, he's due for a win. He's due for a screamer. Nick had probably the best results in G'day Gridiron betting this season.
Yes.
And so far, he's been woefully unlucky during the playoffs. So, Nick, it all hinges on you. What are we going to? We got, as I said, we got 5 lines on the Washington Eagles game, and we've got 1 line on the Kansas City Buffalo game. Where are you going, bud?
Mate, the way I've been going in the playoffs, they've been calling me the Mediterranean Lamar Jackson with my performances. Just woeful in the playoffs. I'm going to the AFC Championship game. I'm going back to basics. Something that is reliable, something that's, just you just see it. You just see it late in the game. He's going to get fed a lot. They're going to get the first downs, get over the hump, maybe even a touchdown there as well. He averages almost 9 receptions against Buffalo in the playoffs in each of the 3 games.
I almost think I know where you're going here.
Travis Kelce, over 6.5 receptions, not touchdowns. I think it's definitely going to be a second half masterclass for Travis Kelce, and I think it's probably the last great game that he's probably got in him before he does hang up the boots. So plus 6.5 receptions, I think is the play here. He averages, like I said, close to 9 against Buffalo in the playoffs. So nice, hopefully safe bet. I say that, but the way I've been going in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Anything can absolutely happen. And I love that we've got some over receptions bets in amongst all these like standard receiving yards and anytime TDs. So this is what a stellar 7-leg multi we've got going. Travis Kelce plus 6.5 receptions. Terry McLaurin plus 64.5, and Terry McLaurin with an anytime TD. Austin Eckler plus 2.5 receptions. Diami Brown plus 44.5 receiving yards and an anytime TD. Kareem Hunt anytime TD. Put it all in to the sports bet slips, and for the G'day Gridiron and AGN multi for the championship games. 7 legs, 132.75.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's no way this is losing.
151.90 with the power play. God, we get some good power plays.
Oh my gosh.
Winning.
Throw a lazy dollar on that sucker.
Oh boy.
10 cents.
Boy. Just the 5-leg multi for Commanders Eagles is $29.50 by itself.
Ooh.
Wow.
Juicy.
What was Diami Brown's overs on yards?
44.5 and then an anytime touchdown.
Yep.
Really just catches 145 yarder in my home.
That's my hope. Yeah.
And it's
Terry
scary.
could do that on a play each.
That Scary Terry just catches a 70 yarder and we're fucking sweet as well.
What will be fun is to see how this manifests in the fantasy game.
It very much could. It very, very much could happen that it's
Yeah.
just 145 yarder. To be honest, so
Taylor,
See where Diami Brown goes.
that'll
What
happen.
round? People are going to reach for Diami Brown.
Those things will come off, and then Travis Kelce will have 5 receptions.
Oh my god! Could you believe
Correct
it?
me if I'm wrong. Is that 4 or
6.
5 bets on the Commanders? And yeah, it was 5.
I said
too.
five.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So all the bets on that game are Commanders our way. Then we're just betting on Commanders, guys. It's just.
Well,
Yeah.
this is just about betting, mate. It's just like the
Yeah.
fantasy game where it's all just about fantasy and points. You're not really worried.
Exactly.
You're not really worried about what the result of the game is. You're worried about who gets the points. The same with betting. You're just worried about who's getting the receptions, who's getting those yards. All those kind of
The
things.
Commanders can bortle their way to anything, mate. Absolutely.
That's right. They
Purdy
can
their way.
absolutely.
Second half magic.
You can birdie garbage time your way to anything, Matty.
I mean, I was just listening to the shows from this time last year, earlier today, and there was a whole thing where we were just in a manjot about Purdy not being able to play in the first half and just junk timing it. And he was so defensive. Oh my god, it was amazing. Go back and find those shows, by the way. They are so good.
He got there in the
Absolutely.
second half.
Absolutely. Go back and find all of our shows. Here's a segue. You can find everything at our linktree /Aussie Gridiron Network. You'll find every episode ever of both of our shows, Aussie NFL Fantasy Show and G'day Gridiron, right there on those links, as well as links to all of our socials, Manjot's YouTube and Instagram, Pastry Press NFL. You'll find all that where you will find Aussie Gridiron today. And you'll also find a merch link for some very amazing AGN merch, which is everywhere. So find that. It's all a great price on there. So go and check a lot of that out. Stickers, if you just want some stickers, you can get a hat, you can get a coffee mug. Yeah, anything you want. So
T. Higgins spit roast sticker, 100% on the back of your laptop. I mean, few
laptop,
bucks.
it go on the bumper,
Worth it.
mate. It goes on the back of the work car.
Spit roast T. Higgins.
Taylor and Joshy.
Get it for your mum's car.
Yeah. Don't tell her, just get it for your mum's car.
Yeah.
She never goes back there.
Sam Seaman, just for the girlfriend's car. No worries.
Yeah,
Right
absolutely.
under honk if you're horny.
Yes. Is that a
We're in touch
Rams?
with the people here.
That's a Rams reference, isn't it? All right.
I just love how 99% of the time Isaac has been perfectly positioned to have the horns coming out at the right angle too.
Yeah.
I don't even know that you're doing it. I just love it.
It's
I
been
know.
amazing. All
I
right.
know what's happening.
He knows. Great chat again tonight, boys. Amazing championship stuff. Can you believe 3 games of football left for the season? That's all we've got. 3 games.
So did we get the overs or unders?
We are so close. Oh, we went over.
I reckon we're at 82 minutes. I reckon we're close.
We went over. I'll tell you later when I do the edit, but I reckon we're over. So 87.
I'm going to bet unders.
Here we
I'm
go.
going to bet unders. Everyone else has gone
Under.
over. Matty C's going unders.
I bet it under.
All right.
I'm going
Man,
over.
John's with me.
Can we count this as part of the tips as well?
Yeah. Yes. It's just like the anthem, mate. It's just like
Don't give us a freaking line. Those losers, they've got no idea.
No.
I'm going to go with whoever's doing the editing.
Ian's got this show, so you choose.
All right. Everyone, we'll say goodbye. Go around the room real quick. Bye. That's Nick,
Come on, Buffalo, get across the line.
Matty.
Hey, see you, hooroo.
Let's go, Taylor.
Speaking of segues, I can't get on a segue because I'm too fat. Thanks, boys.
Isaac.
How do I follow that? See ya.
Yeah, John.
Just like Nick, let me hear you want to shout.
I thought you were going with a dick joke.
Yeah, I thought you were too. Brad.
It's like riding a bike without a seat. I'm loving it.
And on that bombshell, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
I actually do reckon we hit the under.